So we're going to get right into this one. We're going to go over 5 altcoins that look pretty good in terms of downward targets. So we're going to go and see if we can meet them. We are also going to talk about a few other things as well, such as the total market cap, which is on the screen now. If you like my content, make sure you do like it because it does help. Let's get over 500 likes because why not? Now, we have rejected the 382 level on the impulse going up. And I do feel that this red box here may well come into play. Okay, just be careful. It may well come into play. We will look at good altcoins, so make sure you do stick around. They are 5 obvious altcoins. They are top of the tree. And the reason why I've done that is because the influence of those are important. Now, tonight I have a live Patreon. Make sure you jump in. 7 p.m. UK. Link is below, so make sure you jump in if you want even more content. New. First one I want to talk about it is Polkadot. Why? Yes, I am a holder. Yes, I love it. But ultimately, we're in a downtrend like the entire market. Now, all these assets are good. They're all right, apart from one that I'm not too 100% convinced on. But ultimately, for me, we've got to look at a few little variants in terms of why this is happening. The whole entire market is currently getting melted. Now, this is, I think, prior to all the war talk and all kinds of stuff around that as well. I think the market was already cooked. My personal opinion, not financial advice. I know a lot of people have been wrecked recently. And if you don't know this, I play the trend. So when it's green, I tend to buy. When it's red, I don't tend to buy. I accumulate. I do not short the market. I accumulate. I teach this quite a lot. Now, what's happening? In my personal opinion, we have downward targets from this impulse here to this impulse into the 618 levels. And I feel we are going to go lower. Now, I already put this out the other day on my Twitter. And I do think we are going to hit $12. I think $12 will happen. We could also go lower. The $12 significance is the fact of that level there. Hugely important that we go to that level. If we go lower, $7.68, which, cool. You know, I'm happy to load up. I sold this quite a while ago. I do hold it in my hardware wallet. I stake it on the network. I have a swing bag, which I like to accumulate. So I sold quite a bit a while ago. I sold twice actually. So I'm pretty happy with what I've done, aiming for accumulation. Because as I say, I like to play the trends. If it starts to correct up, and let's just talk about the bullish situation potentially. If we do correct up, and I know I've talked about this $12 level, let's just say that we do continue going up. And let's just say, for example, we don't hit it, just to show you as a basis on this analysis. Let's just say that we do not hit it and we do actually have a bottom. You know, guess what I'd be doing? I'd be taking some money off the table as profits around these levels because it's a swing bag, right? It can also go higher. Do not forget that. Potential other extensions could leave us even higher. I could be totally wrong, but ultimately I play what I see. So at the moment, short-term bearish at the minute, which I have been for about a couple of months now, which is fine. Anyways, I think that level is significant. I think we're going to go down to that point anyways. Next one is Luna. Now, sorry, Luna fans. I know I've been battering you. I love Luna, by the way. Just going to put that out there. I use Anchor Protocol for UST. I love it. It's brilliant. It's one of the best networks out. But it looks pretty crap at the moment, right? Let's just talk about this first impulse, right? So, if you remember my video here, I talked about do not buy this. It's $100. It's crazy money. Do not do it. Do not do it. Do not do it. And people did anyways. And people called me an idiot. We're now $49. Sorry, guys. We've got to look at certain things. Now, the reason why I did that was because, well, let's be honest here. I called the top from there. That is where I called it. This impulse into this level, absolutely perfect, right? Literally called it on the video. It's like, right, we're going to go there. We're probably going to turn around here. Yes, we could have went much higher, obviously. But realistically, it was starting to look like it was going to start to push down. Anyways, moving on. Now, with doom trends, we got 2 impulses to worry about. The first one is this obvious previous one from the past, which we are already played out, right? We went up to the 618 levels and we melted all the way down to this level here. We're right on that point now. We can ignore that one. The one I'm more interested in at the moment is actually from this big impulse down to this impulse here, right to the 382. Now, this is going to make you wince, by the way. We could go pretty low. And I'm saying here, potentially $30. I'm not going to go and go, well, we're going to go 15 because that is a huge stretch. However, there's a lot of consolidation ranges and a bit of rangy behavior around here, but also, as I said, around here too. So if we're looking to put our money somewhere, there's a high chance that if we do form a new low, that level would play into huge significance. So I think $30 to $31 is probably going to be an area where it's going to get some capture. There may well be some front running though before about 38, because look at the structure around these points here. So maybe about 35. So in and around this whole mess here, we may well see a lot of demand because, yeah, it's just corrected massively. I'm not, as I said, ignore that previous one. But ultimately, when you look at this level as well, $15 looks quite attractive. And never say never. That's all I want to say. And I know people will be like, oh, it's still bearish. But ultimately, we're in a downtrend. You just don't know until the bottom's actually in. That's a problem with trying to predict these kind of areas. The thing that I always say to people, and I hope people listen, is if you plot these levels, they could, the word is could, become a future level. If you know they're there, just accept it. It's like, cool, right? It's fine. Because if you know it's going to happen, it's, you know, be prepared for it. You should already be out of position. You should already be in profit. You should already be looking to accumulate at certain points. They're never, ever going to just keep on going down. That's why bottoms are there. So just be careful. Moving on. I'm not going to highlight that $15 one. Actually, no, I am. Bollocks to it. Because you never know. One day I can be like, you know that video I did ages ago about 5 altcoins that are going to go, yeah, right, okay. You just never know, dear. You just never know what's going to happen in this world. Anyways, moving on to another one that gets a lot of crap on the markets. It's all right. It's not my favorite asset. Let's talk about it in terms of real. Hold on, let me just get it up correctly. Now, I've talked about this recently. Huge monster sell-off. We're currently at 92 cents. And I've said this before, the danger zone for Cardano. I'm going to zoom out and you'll see it. The big dump. If we lose this level officially, I think we're going to go pretty significantly lower. Okay, so if you're a Cardano fan and you've got profit, you'll probably be like this right now. However, some people probably not, and that's where the problem lies and where things happen. Now, let's go from an obvious kind of point. If we go to the 3-day time frame, you can see this obvious rejection, impulse, pulled back in. We are on our merry way. Where are we going to go? Well, we are below $1. $1, I said ages ago, is a monster level. You can see it. I don't have to even reiterate that point. It's a fucking monstery level. And ultimately, if we are looking for impulses, apologies for my rookie errors. This is kind of the most clear and obvious one we've got. We are at that key critical level. Lose this level, we're going to go into this zone here, and it's going to get very, very melty very, very quickly. And that's where the problem is. And I would even go to say, like, this whole level of consolidation here, and this, by the way, is a 3-day time frame. That is a monster level, just below that 618 level. So I know it's a bit extreme, but that is a level of interest. But first, I'd rather pinpoint the obvious one. That is just below this certain level here, which again, if you just put your cursor to the left here, you've got wicks here, it's probably pretty significant. It's also, I think, has some past data. It doesn't on this chart, but we have been around for a while, Cardano, since 2017, and it has been $1.40, I believe, in the first bull run. So for me, $70 looks pretty ideal. We may go lower, especially with volatility, because there's a massive gap because there's a big pump. So just be careful. There might not be much substance in and around that region. So just be very aware of that. Anyways, we're getting towards the end now. And the next one is an important one. Now, I really like this asset. And I say I'm focusing on the top assets at the moment. I know people will be commenting saying, well, you've missed a load. However, this has got a vesting period coming out. There's going to be a token launch, unlocking, sorry, not a launch, unlocking, which is important. Now, the 3-day time frame is giving us a very, very big juicy impulse. So rejection, lower high. This, by the way, educational purposes, if you were holding it, this should have been your get out of jail card. This should have been, I'm getting out of this. This doesn't look great. Always sell on a retest of a rejection. Always buy of a retest of a support. They work best. Anyways, moving on. So let's look at the past. What did this do? This yielded us with a great sell opportunity and a potential buyback in and around a region. But I think we're going to go lower than that level. So that's already played out. Technically, though, it could go lower, right? It could go down to this level. As I said before, future proofing of levels could become important. And this level here is important. This level here is also important. So just keep an eye on it. Let's see if $31 pops up again. Now, we need to look at the obvious, right? This impulse here, down to this level here up to the 618 levels. Bear with me, I will make it perfect. There we go, it's perfect now. Right onto the level, and again, look at that, $32 now. Ooh, so that level there is going to be of critical support in my opinion, but there's also a level here first. Now, someone messaged me the other day saying Avalanche looks bullish. No, it doesn't, because we are forming, you know, you got a low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Are we going to see a lower low? Well, that's where we could see some problems, and that's where we need to kind of look at a few things first. I think those two levels are hugely significant. So $52 and more importantly $32 potentially could be the levels where this could be hitting if we are going to go and get caught out in a massive bearish kind of divergence. Ultimately, it's not looking great, and we already are seeing a bearish divergence already in that anyways, in terms of the well, not great. It's not perfect. What I'm looking at, by the way, is this here, this hidden bear. So this is the high, this is a rejection point, the RSI is higher than it. It's technically a hidden bearish divergence. Anyways, final one is Solana. Now, I'm not the biggest lover of this. There's all kinds of speculation to state that there's a lot of token unlocks happening, and this is a previous levels that I've already had on my chart. So if I'm going to look at this, let's just look at some levels. So this is the previous high. We bounce right the way, oh hello. We bounce right the way back up into the 618 here. We'll probably see about on a daily time frame. So we melted. We found a big, massive, monstery run. Now, on the high time, you could have used a few of those, but look at how that has ultimately hit that level. So that level has already played out significantly from that impulse, pulled right the way back up. Obviously, the wicks would have been much harder to catch in terms of the higher time frames, but realistically, that is an absolute horrendous one. Anyway, starting again. Let's have a little look. So I'm going to go from this impulse here to this pullback up here, because I feel that is probably the most, unless we're going to go from here to there, which isn't really, well, yeah, actually that works, because it does go into this level here of demand, look left, and it has hit that level. But for me then, okay, we'll go from that point, this point here, the rejection, into this impulse, into roughly the 50% mark, and we could be looking, wow, actually that looks pretty good actually, to be fair, because of that rejection there around that point, and we've also had levels of resistance and support levels here. So for me, I would say $60 is probably the level that this could probably melt down to. Obviously, we've got $81 here, which is a previous high, which is always important to look at. But for me, fundamental-wise, if there's going to be token unlocks with the VCs and stuff, yeah, it could get quite ugly. We've seen what's happened to Glimmer. So, yeah, and obviously $32. $32 could be pretty meaty at some point in the future. Now, these all sound horrendous, but we are in a downtrend. We have already formed a massive loss on a lot of these assets. Now, just to say one thing, these may not hit at any point in the next coming weeks. It may well be a bearing of what I said before, that these levels are here from an impulse, and they're also a level of structure on the chart. They may well hit at some point, but we may well, and I'm hoping this actually does happen before you run away and cry, I'm hoping we get an impulse first, a bounce first at some point in the next coming weeks to try and get a relief, because this is getting pretty brutal now. I don't like to be bearish all the time. I like to follow the trends. I like to make money too. Funny enough, I do not short, as I said. But as I said before in the Polkadot example, right, the market could present us, because we've been dropping so much, we may well find a natural bottom of demand anyways, right? Even though these bearish targets are there, we could be looking at them at some point after the next run, because what could happen, and this could be a bit of alpha, let's just say this is the bottom, and as I said before, right, we may well go back into this level here, and then we may well form another downtrend from these levels here, forming new lows, and then we may well see these targets. So if you are stuck in position, just be patient. No point selling at losses just yet. Just wait and see what happens. The trend will eventually at some point turn around. Unless you bought rubbish assets that will not recover, these ones all should get some sort of respite. However, going back to Bitcoin, and I know, you know, this is the market. The bottom line is, for me, looking at this region alone, right? So this is the bullish scenario. If we do not hold this and we continue going lower, a lot of these targets will hit. We could go quite a lot higher, which will be that good relief rally that we do need. However, looking at other situations here, we could be looking at this impulse here. This is the pullback into the 618 rejection. We could be looking at 27k very, very easily. And if that happens, all those targets will most likely be met. It'll get pretty brutal. The dominance chart of BTC will also go up. Anyways, if you like my content, sorry, it's realistic, I know. Please do drop a like and a subscribe. And I'll see you again very, very soon.